Here's how AI cuts my content creation time in half. And I'm not talking about shortcuts that lower quality. I'm talking about tools that help me write faster, edit smarter, and actually finish the stuff that I start. I'll show you exactly how I use AI for blogging, podcasting, songwriting, and everyday tasks. The biggest way AI helps me is transcription. When Jason G and I record a movie review as an example, I upload the audio to rev.com and use their AI transcription service. It's way cheaper, unfortunately, than hiring a person, and it costs me usually between $1 to $10, and what would take me days is done in minutes. Is it perfect? No. But it captures about 80 to 90% of the conversation. Now, why is it that I do this? I want to go ahead and use this as an article for my blog. From rev.com, I take the transcript and drop it into ChatGPT, and I ask to turn the raw text into a short blog post and or a podcast episode description. Before I publish anything, I run it through Grammarly. I also wanted to add that the reason why I want an article is because ideally, for SEO purposes, and what's SEO is kind of like when people Google or look for my podcast or my content, I want to have kind of as many points of contact that are available. So I want to have a blog. Like, let's say Jason G and I do a movie review, right? So I want to have a video. I want to have a blog post. I want to have pictures. That's the thing I'm not super keen on yet, that I have to do kind of more of. I want to have all these things that one can find on different social media platforms, so they can find me, they can find my content, and they can engage with my content, and we can start a conversation. John Cena actually said it best on a recent Cody Rhodes podcast interview, and it makes me think about that, like, while recording this, is I don't want to always be talking to people. I want to have a conversation with people. I want to have a back and forth. If I'm just talking to you, depending on what I'm saying, I think people just turn away because I'm talking at you. But if it's something that's interesting you, you're leaning in, you're curious about it, you want to go ahead and we can have a conversation about it. Best case scenario, whether you agree, disagree, think it's great, think it sucks, whatever. But a conversation is the way to go. Engagement with the stuff that I'm putting out. This is just kind of my goal in terms of putting out content, right? But continuing here. Before I publish anything, though, so I've put it through rev.com, I put the raw text into ChatGPT, it's spit out an article. I put this now into Grammarly, and its AI tools catch errors, they clean things up, and reduce my editing time by a ton. There's an expert review function now in Grammarly where it even suggests small improvements that help the writing flow better. And this is something I'm still learning when it comes to engagement with my writing. This editing process, that part takes a little bit of time, but it's not replacing my voice. It's just helping me polish it. Another creative way I use ChatGPT is for songwriting. I maybe have some secret dreams of being a songwriter for the beats that I make, that I just like to make, my quirky little beats. This is all stuff at home. I'm not trying to be some crazy big artist or anything. Now, when I write songs, I start with real life moment from my life. Nothing fancy, something that's happened to me, whether it's big or small. And for example, I was home late last year, 2024, to beginning of this year, 2025, recovering from a foot injury. I'm a very active person, so being stuck on a knee scooter flipped my world upside down. I wrote what was on my mind in my notebook, short paragraphs, no rhymes, no structure. That's where the songwriting part, I don't have it, and this is why I need ChatGPT for. Now, here's a small piece of what I originally wrote. Almost 50, there's a lot to consider about retirement, or whether I want to continue working. Often isolated, I want to have friends for all my interests. Might be tough to maintain. So, okay, I wrote that. Then I fed that into ChatGPT. I asked it to turn it into a rap song with a singing chorus. I'm not going to get into singing here or anything, but this is what it gave me. Almost 50, thinking how I want to live. Senior life coming, what's the plan to give? Retire or keep working, mind in debate. Isolation creeping, but I can't let it dictate. Friends for every passion, every lane I ride. Hard to keep them close where there's no extra time. Juggling relationships, wondering how, but I believe it's possible. Gotta figure it out somehow. So you see what's working there, right? And this is a collaboration. It's not replacement, right? Another note in terms of AI music, AI music services like Suno, it can generate, you can feed it something and it can generate a whole song with instruments and everything. But from what I've read, they keep your output. So whatever you put in, whatever it spits out, you don't get to keep it. As of this video, ChatGPT, it doesn't do that. If I could use a car metaphor, like when you go buy a car, right? I think of it this way. Like Suno will lease you the car with restrictions, but ChatGPT sells you the car outright, yours. As of this video, that can always change. Another AI tool I use daily is Google's Gemini. I think we all do this in one form or fashion. Don't we all use some kind of AI to ask whatever questions are on top of minds with our phones or on the computer or instead of scrolling through 10 links, I'll use the AI mode in Gemini or just google.com to give me a summarized answer of whatever's on my mind. A fun experiment that we can all do, that you can do, the viewer, now, is ask Gemini to summarize today's news in one sentence. And try it and let me know what you get. Let me know in the comments below. Even eBay is using AI now. When I list items in my store, there's a button that generates a product description for you. It's helpful, but it's not perfect. I sell used items, and the AI doesn't mention defects, so I still have to add that myself. But it gives buyers a better background information and saves me time on the basics. So I'll say, hey, this has no holes, it has no odors in terms of a piece of clothing, no stains. And then the AI description will give it a full, like, oh, this came from here, and this is where it's from, and this and that, which is pretty cool. Now, the final way I use AI is with content planning. As I mentioned before, I want to have an article. I want to have pictures. I didn't mention this before actually. I want to have audio. That's where the podcast comes in. So I want to have an audio component where people can hear what I'm saying, just the audio only. Sometimes that gets a bigger reach than a video. So audio, an article they can read, pictures, and a video. I asked ChatGPT to help me figure out how to share my content across platforms like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, etc. And how and what works best where. Examples being, should it be a written post, a link, a 15-second video, just a picture? Another being the tone on Facebook. It's different from LinkedIn, which is a kind of more work, kind of professional, right? Where Facebook is a little bit more casual for an older audience. I used this approach for my last podcast about video game news and making my first beat. It took a little bit of setup because it was my first time, but I'm curious to see how it performs across all those platforms that I use, right? So that's how I use AI. It's not to replace creativity, but to remove friction. I'm super looking forward to when AI can help to edit video and edit podcasts. Like it takes out the and the long pauses or like times that one repeats themselves. Using AI for the creativity, I think it's fantastic, really. And being a content creator for like I've just been podcasting alone maybe like over a decade now. And using old content, reusing it and repackaging it, like so AI can help to kind of give me an idea of how to go repackage this and how to present it. Yeah, that's how I use AI. How do you use AI regularly? Are there any specific tools like Siri, Gemini, Alexa, or something else that you use all the time? Drop a comment and let me know below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.